I bought something a bit crazy. So I guess this is my first ever unboxing video. Probably not going to be very good at it, but whatever. So I'll talk while I unbox, I suppose. Right, well. Happy Thursday! Thursday is a great day to get a new guitar. Oh, knife. So, ever since I was a kid, probably would have been about the age of 14, 15, and I first heard Korn, and I thought, wow, those guitars are so low. I want a guitar that goes that low, and I've been jonesing for a 7-string extended range ever since. But I've never committed the money, had the need, so to speak. I kind of overshot because since then I've become a big fan of Deftones and really like the 8-string sounds that Stefan got and the crazy stuff that Meshuggah did. And I mean, to compensate, I did actually build a baritone telly, which is this beautiful beast, 28.6 inch scale length. I use a set of 7-string strings for it, which is, I use the Abasi set, which is supposed to be 10 to 75, but I don't use the highest strings on that set. The highest, I actually have to special order a 20 and a 22 for this, so that it plays a little bit more like a normal guitar as opposed to a Fender Bass 6 or something like that. But yeah, this was what I used to compensate when I wanted a gent stick, effectively. Duncan SH5 in the bridge. Yeah, fun guitar. But then recently, one of my friends got his hands on an Ormsby fan fret. And again, fan frets, yeah, seem really interesting, and I've been very, very curious about them, but, I haven't had the money, I haven't had the time, haven't had the inclinations, so, I just haven't gotten around to buying something of that ilk. Until now. Now, it's a bit of a gamble getting a fan fret 8-string, really of any variety. I have tried in store some Strandbergs and a few other bits and pieces, again, some Ormsbys and whatnot, but you never really know if you're going to like it and if you're going to gravitate towards it and be happy with it. So I really wasn't prepared to spend thousands of dollars on this instrument. So I started looking at budget options, and there are a few budget options out there. This one came very badly reviewed, hence why I felt compelled to make a video. This is the G4M 529 Pro. It's funny, it's got a cute graphic on the actual guitar, on the box there. This is what the guitar looks like. Anyway, yeah, so at first I didn't know about the packaging because I could hear something rumbling around inside that square box, but I'm glad to see that it comes in a more triangular box, and it seems to be pretty well packaged inside of that. Ooh. Please excuse my dogs barking. It's getting a little too close to dinner time for them. Okay, this is pretty sick. Wow, it is so light. This is really lightweight and really quite well balanced right there at the neck. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be in the photographs that I've seen of it. The fade, I was kind of hoping I'd be able to see a bit more grain at the back here. It kind of just, the burl sort of just ends about there, and then it just fades to a progressively darker shade of brown or dark grey towards the back there. But, you know, it looks cool. Really hope that's not a scratch and it's going to buff out. You know, QA is what you pay for with the more expensive instruments. So, yeah, I'll have to give it a good clean. I do like a matte finish, though. That is really, really nice. Switch feels solid. Knobs feel nice and smooth. Ooh, I like that. From the tests that I've heard about the pickups, they sound pretty bad, so I'm expecting I'm going to have to change those out. At the moment, I'm sort of leaning towards lace sensors. The tuners, probably not the worst I've ever felt, but there is a bit of play before things start to move there. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Is it in tune out of the box? Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. What else did they put in the box? Oh look, they gave us a cable. Isn't that cute? I'll be shocked if that works at all. There are a couple of Allen keys in there as well. Actually, I'm really interested to see because I can't remember if this one is supposed to have dual action truss rod or not. The cover is really wide, which leads me to believe it probably will. Hope so. But yeah, that'll be something to play around with. Bridge hardware looks pretty good. I'm just looking down the barrel there and they seem to be pretty well in line. The nut does feel... It's funny because some of the reviews of this have said, oh, the nut's a bit wider than the neck. Mine is actually the opposite. Mine is a tiny bit thinner than the slot. But again, I am expecting I'm probably going to have to change that very, very quickly. And yeah, my local guitar maintenance store charges about $100 to put a Graphtec in there. So that's probably what I'll be doing in the coming months. Oh, I should point out, I paid Australian $722 for this guitar, which in American dollars, I believe, was like $470. So yeah, that's what you can expect to get slugged for shipping and the like. And I also have to point out, shipping-wise, this thing got here super fast. Like, I ordered this on the Sunday, which means next business day was Monday. That's when they officially took my money, and this showed up 4 days later. And I believe it came from Germany. Like, that is the fastest I've ever received an instrument retail in my life. So, you know, big thumbs up to Gear for Music for that one. Big plus there. All right, let's have a bit of a tweak with this thing and see what's good and what's not. Okay, so I've had a little bit of a play around, stretched the strings in, started getting to know the sounds. So guitar is going straight into my Behringer compressor pedal to even out the dynamics a little bit. Then it goes into a Radial Pro DI, and then that's going into the preamp of my Steinberg UR824 interface. And I'm in Reaper, and I'm running the free Stevie T Gent God VST for the sounds. Yeah. The pickups aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be, and I haven't adjusted the height yet. Now, anyone buying a new guitar, first thing you got to do, after you've got it set up the way you like and had a bone nut put on and put on the strings that you like and, you know, all the other bits and pieces, pick up height. You've got to plug in your guitar, you've got to listen to it through whatever your favorite amps are, use a guitar that you have that you already know is good for reference. If it's sounding muddy, lower the pickups a little bit. If it's sounding weak and too dynamic, the pickups are probably too far away from the strings, so you need to adjust the height. And that is adjust the high and the low side to suit your picking and to try and even out the volume and the dynamics between the strings, because so many people and friends that I know, they're like, oh, I just never vibe with this guitar. And it's just because they never adjusted the pickup height. It's like, yeah, it sounds like crap because, you know, the pickup is sitting parallel to your strings. It's too close to the low end. It's too far away from the high end. Like, yeah, no, it sounds bad the way it is. You need to adjust your pickup height. So I'm going to see if I can clear up a little bit of mud by lowering the low side a bit. Let's see how adjustable this is. Oh, God, doesn't want to move. Try not to stab the finish. You know what? These pickups don't want to be adjusted. Now, I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe this guitar is so cheap that the pickups just sit flat, recessed into the cavity and there's no room for movement at all. I don't know. I'm going to need to, when I get around to taking the strings off of this, have a bit more of a play around and see what I can do, and maybe reach out to their support. The support from Gear for Music have actually been pretty good. I got in contact with them to ask them about some of the particulars about the pickup cavities because I'm thinking of changing them out, which, you know, I might need to do sooner rather than later if I can't adjust the height of these things. But we'll see how we go there anyway. But hey, look, it's not actually sounding too terrible off the bat. So let's just carry on. Now, I can't exactly profile any clean tones with this at the moment, but so what? I'm just on the bridge pickup at the moment. I apologize for my terrible playing. I'm not a very good guitar player, and also, yeah, trying to get the hangle, trying to figure out how to mute all of these strings correctly is going to take a bit of practice for me. So, yeah, bear with me. I've not encountered any flat spots or any weird banjo sitar-y kind of twangs going on with the strings yet. I haven't done a full every fret, practice to see what's going on and whether or not I'm going to have any issues there. Also, I need to do the intonation at some point. I've got my favorite strings on order, the DR10 to 75s, so I will be chucking them on when those arrive. In the meantime, I did pick up a set of Ernie balls locally that are quite cheap. Those are 10 to 74s. So, and that was kind of more of a, if these strings are terrible and I don't want to touch this until my new strings arrive, then I was going to chuck those on. Although I seem to be doing pretty well. These strings aren't half bad, honestly. If you're young and budget-minded and this is your, your 8th string of choice, these strings could last you some time. They're seriously not that terrible or unplayable. I'm hoping that I'll get a little bit more tension out of a thicker lower string, a little less give to it. One of the things I actually like about this guitar design is how much extra string length there is past the nut. My number one guitar has been a Jazzmaster for some time now, which has a lot of string length behind the bridge saddles, and I find it acts like an Evertune. You can dig in really hard and the strings don't go out of pitch all that bad. downside of that, of course, is they don't feel as tight and percussive. But, you know, if that bugs me after a while, I could always put in a string tree to increase the downward pressure over the nut to stop the string from moving as much. But, you know, for the time being, I'm quite happy with it. And as I say, I do, yeah, really like the fact that I can dig in extra hard because I'm a bit of a basher. And the strings don't go out of tune. The guitar feels really comfortable to play. I like a thin neck, and this is quite a thin neck. And the fretboard, whilst coming from 6 strings, yes, it does feel wider than my normal 6 strings. I'm not finding it particularly uncomfortable to play a power chord down on the lowest strings. So yeah, it's actually pretty nice. The stainless steel frets, I'm hoping are going to last a bit longer than the nickel frets on literally every other guitar that I have, which, you know, is a little bit sad in this day and age. I paid, you know, somewhere a little over $2,000 for my Jazzmaster, TVL Copper Jazzmaster, and it still comes with nickel frets. And it's kind of like, come on, man, really? So yeah, that's a lovely touch about this guitar. The volume and the tone seem to be working as intended. Volume. I can always, you know, mess around with potentiometers at some point. A couple of mods I'm probably going to make to this guitar when I get the lace sensors. If I get the lace sensors or whatever pickups I'm going to chuck in this thing, I'll probably put in a push-pull for a coil split, because quite often I like a single coil sound on baritone guitars. And I am also a fan of kill switches, so I'll probably be changing out the tone pot for a kill pot, which I have on one of my other guitars, and I like that to be able to get that sort of stutter effect. There are a few little blemishes here and there, as to be expected. A couple of, you know, finish discrepancies in some places, but honestly, it's not that bad. And to be perfectly honest, for this price, it doesn't bother me at all. For the price I paid for this guitar, it's sort of like if I ding it or dent it or hurt it in any way, I'm not going to feel like I'm hurting the resale value of it, which is one of the reasons why I wanted one that was so cheap. Yeah, I haven't changed the strings yet, so I can't speak for the ferrules falling out. Some people have commented that that's an issue with this guitar, but I'll, you know, see how I go with that. And worst case scenario, I'm just going to jam a bit of blue tack in there. But yeah, look, honestly, I'm pretty chuffed with this. The neck seems dead straight at the moment, although I could stand to give it a bit of relief, I think, because personally, I'm a basher, so I kind of like a slightly higher string height than most people. So that's something I'll probably do when I'm messing around and setting up the rest of it from here on. And obviously, yes, as I mentioned before, I'll be adjusting the intonation on this to see how I go. I'm used to having it in F-sharp standard, so I'll probably keep it that way for the time being. But, you know, in future, maybe I'll change to drop E, see how I go. Yeah, but no, I think for the money, I'm actually really, really impressed. And I like this guitar quite a lot, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. I probably haven't shown off the different sounds of the pickups very much. So again, yeah, I'm on the bridge at the moment with volume and tone all the way up. The worst string definition I've ever heard. Yeah, could be better, could be worse. Again, I think, you know, to me, whenever I buy a piece of gear, it's like, how long am I going to like this for? That's always the question, is like, how many years will I get out of this? If I like it for 5 years, then it's made its money and I'm happy with it. If I want to get rid of it immediately, then, you know, clearly that was a dud. But I think, yeah, again, for the sake of what was paid for it, if this was your first 8-string guitar or first guitar at all, it probably shouldn't be. Yeah, I think you could do a lot worse, and this will keep you happy for a good period of time. The neck pickup. Got a nice bit of punch on the neck pickup, but whilst still being a little bit rounder sounding. Yeah, not the worst I've ever heard. Anyway, yeah, so that's my first impressions of the G4M 529 Pro 8-string fan fret guitar from G4M. Yeah, for the price, you could do a lot worse. As I said, I looked around at a lot of the budget options, and a lot of people said, you should get an Agile, you should get a Guitars of Canada, you should get like all these other guitars that were made in Indonesian and Chinese factories, and said, no, that's the one you should get. And it's like, well, you look at the reviews, and there are other people saying, no, you're spending an extra $700 on those or $500 on those, and the fit and finish is no good, and people have problems with the frets. Oh, for everybody who's complaining about sharp frets, no, there are no sharp frets on this guitar. The fretwork feels very nice, all rounded over. Nothing's protruding from the binding on the outside, and I'm not feeling any sharp edges at all. So, big tick there. Yeah, really good guitar. Very happy with the purchase. I think this will keep me going for a while, or at least until a cheap Ormsby comes along. Anyway. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this helps somebody make a decision, and yeah, keep chugging. I was going to leave the video there at first impressions, but I have been playing around with this for the last couple of days, and I felt it was important that I go over some of the quibbles with this guitar in a little bit more detail. Yes, I still recommend buying this guitar. I think it is actually really fantastic for the money, still. One thing I do need to point out is it has a bit of an earthing issue, this one. You can hear it there. So I did try removing all the saddles individually, all the bridge pieces rather, individually, scrape a little bit of the paint off of the bottom to try and make a connection with the earth wire that is running underneath. It seems to have helped with a couple of them, but not all, so I'm thinking I probably just need to bite the bullet and put a new wire in underneath, which I will do the next time I change the strings. I also filed just a little bit off of the inside of each of these saddles where the string meets it, so hopefully the strings will be earthed correctly then as well. But yeah, still having an earth issue, not a huge deal, but I'll get that dealt with in time. The frets, no, there aren't any sharp fret ends on this guitar. However, the frets were kind of chewed up. All the frets were just a little bit scratchy along the tops of all of them. So I got to my fretboard with masking tape, masked over all of the actual wood itself, so I wasn't going to affect that. Then I gave each of the frets just a very quick, very gentle, 3 or 4 times over with a very fine grit sponge sanding pad, and then a little bit of an extra polish with some quadruple zero steel wool after that. And yeah, they're playing much, much better now. Before, whenever I would try to do a bend, it would sound really scratchy and would choke out really quick. But now it's, yeah, they're all... they're all working out much, much better. I have played around with the dual truss rod a little bit. I've got just a tiny bit of extra relief going on the low side than I do on the high. and I've been adjusting the string height rather to suit. I did get the pickup height to adjust over time. I found out that if I just push on the pickups a little bit to relieve the pressure from the screws, they would actually work. So that was good. I'm still really enjoying this guitar, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to play. It's quite a learning curve to play, coming from just 6 strings myself. But no, it's a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really liking it a lot. I just wanted to talk a little more about the finish issues that this one has. So you can just sort of see there's a little sort of light spot there where there's been a scratch, probably when it was exiting the factory or during the production. You can also see underneath here in the neck joint, there's a bit of discoloration there from either when it was cut or when it was scratched putting the neck on or something, I don't know. But yeah, there's a couple of little flaws under there. That doesn't really bug me. I want this to play more, and I also don't want to be stressing out if I actually hurt the finish on this guitar. Speaking of which, the finish has actually started to wear right here where my arm has been rubbing on it, and that's only after 2 days. So I'm assuming this is going to wear pretty quickly. If that doesn't look good, then I have no qualms about taking everything off and just redoing the whole top of this guitar sometime later down the track. But who knows, maybe the natural relicking will look cool and I'll just leave it as is. But yeah. She's a lot of fun. Still going to change out the pickups. Still planning on getting lace X bars for it. I think I'm going to actually like the extra clarity that you get out of those pickups. I know a lot of people don't like them, but for the price and for that reason, I think I'll actually be quite happy with those. So I'll try them first. And yeah, I'll be changing out the pots when I get around to that as well, because I want to get a kill pot on where the tone is and also a push-pull for the laces on the volume pot. Yeah, no, still really happy with this guitar. It needs a bit of work, but I would have expected that for the money. So yeah, I totally recommend getting this if you want to get a Fanfret 8 string on a budget. Enjoy.